This is Talks, where people speak to people about crafting brands and the power of storytelling. Carl, thank you for being with us for this episode of Talks.
Pleasure is all mine.
We've been working with you for some years. You've been in this group for 11 years now, and you are now the head of marketing of Farsins. And thank you for hosting us in this beautiful space at Farsins. We call this episode Brewing Brands, because you obviously are responsible for brands. But before we delve into brand marketing, can I just ask you, we are in a legacy brewery. I like to call this a legacy brewery. For me, as a native, this is a monument for Malta's branding history and for Malta's manufacturing industry. Let me start by actually looking at the destination marketing of this place. I know it doesn't fall directly under your remit, but obviously you represent Farsins. How important is it to link the brands with the destination, like the brewhouse?
No, definitely Farsins has become a household name over the years. Just to put everything into perspective, we've been around for nearly 100 years. In 2028, we'll be celebrating our 100 years since
That's legacy.
Yes, since we've been set up, and obviously throughout the years we've been part of Maltese lifestyle and present in Maltese households with our brands. So brands like Chisk, Brew Label, Hopleaf, but also Kinney, which is part of our extensive portfolio. So some years back, we opened obviously the brew house. This is the place that we are in now. It's a listed building, so we made sure that we kept its true identity and style, and we've developed it into a destination. So you can enjoy the visitor's experience, where you get to learn more about the company and our brands and our history, and we set up the brand shop, multiple restaurants, and the brew pub, where we also brew craft beer. So
it's an end-to-end customer destination.
Exactly. So you can literally plan a full day and spend a full day at the brew house. Both locals can obviously come and enjoy it, and also tourists and foreigners living in Malta wanting to get a bit of history of their favorite beer.
Carl, you mentioned some of the brands that obviously now fall under your direct management and portfolio. One of them you mentioned, Chisk. Obviously, Chisk is really part of the Maltese identity, and this is the home of Chisk. Going to the branding part of it, how do you maintain, after 100 years of a group, after 100 years of brand building, how do you maintain leadership?
Yeah, that's a very important question and an interesting one. So Chisk is going to be 100 years in 2029. So right after celebrating our 100 years of brewing, then we're going to celebrate the 100 years of Chisk as a brand. And 100 years means that you've been serving 3, now going to the 4th generation of consumers. So it's definitely a big responsibility and a huge achievement, a huge milestone for us. And something that is interesting, that I believe that we kept the brand relevant, is that throughout the years we have improved and we have evolved the brand to be relevant at that point in time. So it's something that also when I started, our chairman at the time did point out to me that even though there were times where we didn't have much competition, we still advertised, we still made sure to communicate with our consumers and to ensure quality and excellence in brewing. And obviously throughout the years, I've been here 11 years and I've seen Chisk evolve twice since these 11 years, and we've always modernized the brand, keeping it fresh, keeping it cool and relevant. Obviously, being true to our own identity. So we're never going to lose yellow, and we're never going to lose
part of the brand DNA,
Chisk in red. Apart from a branding point of view, even from a product development point of view, having a portfolio, a range of Chisk, talking about Chisk Lager, Chisk XL, Chisk Chill, Chisk 00. These obviously keep the brand alive and keep the brand relevant in different beer drinking occasions.
I love what you said about this fourth generation, because and you also mentioned a very interesting word, responsibility, which I think a lot of brand marketers need to keep in mind. But you can drive responsibility if you have customer loyalty. What is your approach? Because having in 2029 100 years of legacy under your belt brings with it responsibility, and obviously the brands enjoy a lot of customer loyalty.
Yeah.
What is the approach to this? Is it something that people will consume your brands and loyalty is achieved on its own? Are there any specific methodologies that you embark on? Can you shed some insight?
I think the key word to bring brand loyalty with your consumers is consistency. So consistency in the product, consistency in brewing, in freshness, and consistency also in our communication with consumers. So consistent tone of voice. Yes, we have to be flexible and adapt to different channels. However, we build loyalty through also availability, being available where and when needed. So it's we say out of sight, out of mind. So the more visible you are, and the more you form part of the local community, the more loyalty you're gonna gain. We support the Malta national football team, the Malta rugby, multiple events over
community engagement.
Yes, over the years, and also our own beer festival, which we view the beer festival as giving back to the community, and as a thank you for their custom over the year. It's a free event, it's a 10-day event, a family-friendly event, and a safe event, and it acts also as a platform for local artists to perform at the festival, where approximately between 6,000 to 8,000 people visit every day.
So it's an art platform.
Exactly. And obviously, the brew house. This building obviously continues to build loyalty, and I've been in the business, the company, for 11 years, as I said, and over the years I've met people, many people, and either they have an uncle who worked at Farsons, or their father, or a friend. So many of us locals know of someone that worked with Farsons.
Right, yeah.
So this company touched many lives, indirectly and directly. And obviously this building is something beautifully restored, which kept its identity, and is open to the public to understand and to learn the story of Farsons.
Carl, you mentioned tone of voice to me, and every marketer needs to look at tone of voice. Now, I know that typically when you are managing brands of so long in legacy, marketers sometimes tend to fall in nostalgia mode, going back and kind of reliving the past and bringing it back. What's the balance between nostalgia, but at the same time innovation? Because the brands live today. Yes, they existed back then, but the brands are consumed today, in today's climate, in today's technological advancements, so on and so forth. What's the balance between nostalgia, and do you feel that sometimes marketers tend to find a safe spot in nostalgia?
Yes, and especially for brands like Chisco and Kinney, which have been around for, as I said, a number of years. It's the safe place to be, which is not necessarily the right place to be. So whilst nostalgia builds legacy and builds trust and loyalty, innovation obviously keeps the brand fresh and young. So Chisco is going to be 100 years young, not 100 years old. And through innovation, through advertising campaigns, through social media content, and through the product themselves and how they are presented in the market. So you always need to find the right balance to ensure that you're relevant. If you're relevant by using nostalgia, then that's fine, but you can't just bank on that. You need to look forward, because at the end of the day, brands need to embrace the past but work for a better future.
Carl, you mentioned two legacy brands that we know, Chisk and Kinney. Obviously, the beauty of this group, and probably a lot of marketeers would envy your portfolio, is the fact that you have a vast selection of different brands, we're aware of others, Carlsberg, Pepsi, the PepsiCo brand, so on and so forth. With such a varied portfolio, with a full desk of beverages, how do you manage to stand out in a crowded market? Because obviously you have other players in the field, right?
Definitely having a good relationship, a business relationship with your clients helps, because that you can secure your spot and you can be obviously visible and available where and when needed. From a product point of view, talking about especially beers, but also soft drinks and other beverages, being the fact that they're brewed or produced locally, it means that they're fresh. So freshness, especially in beer, the fresher the beer, the better it tastes. So that obviously gives us a competitive advantage that helps us stand out. Yes, we advertise, we are present, we support
But
events.
they're home.
But yeah, exactly. But I think our biggest advantage, competitive advantage, is freshness. Just to put it into perspective, beer takes 4 to 6 weeks to be brewed and packaged. Depends on the beer that you're brewing, but let's say 4 to 6 weeks. You can literally, as a consumer, be enjoying a beer which has been packaged the week before. So it can't that's absolutely fresh. With imported beer brands, you can't enjoy the beer in its full freshness, because you spend 3 to 4 months before it actually arrives. Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Exactly. So you especially in summer when we're at our peak, the beer is absolutely fresh and it's lovely, and we know this because we can see obviously the market's reaction to our beer.
And you would say that is, from what I'm understanding, this is your main USP.
Yes, definitely. Being a manufacturing company gives us efficiency, and we can reach the market at a faster and a quicker way. So that is definitely a huge advantage for us and other manufacturing companies in the industry. Having that competitive advantage is critical for to be able to give your consumer the freshest and the best quality product possible.
How nice it is to see a marketeer like you appreciating the source of the product. Sometimes I feel that marketeers just fall into the trap of actually just seeing the boxed product, the packaged product, taking it to market, but not appreciating the journey that product. Obviously, the fact that you live in the manufacturing field probably gives you this. In terms of the beverage industry, what trends are you seeing internationally or locally that are changing consumer behavior patterns, consumption behaviors? What's new?
What we're seeing is that people are drinking less, but of better quality.
Okay.
So that's a trend that we've noticed even locally. So it started abroad, but we're noticing also locally. And the trend of what we call the no-low beverage category, which is either no alcohol or low alcohol in beers. In soft drinks, we're seeing the phenomenon of the zero sugar, which is growing at a very fast pace. But I think those are the two trends that are sticking out at the moment. And as a result of that, obviously the demand for non-alcoholic beers, zero sugar soft drinks and low alcoholic beers is increasing slowly but steadily.
Do you engage in customer education for this in terms of this no-low new trend? Do you believe there should be more customer education towards it, or is it something that consumers will just favor depending on their needs or wants?
Yeah, I believe that the market, especially the young generation, they are much more informed. They're much more educated. Obviously, we have a lot of information that we have access to, and they have quite a cautious relationship as well with their alcohol intake for various reasons, mainly for health reasons. So yes, we should be part of educating the market on non-alcoholic beers and low-alcoholic beers. However, I believe that especially the young generation, they know their stuff already. They do their research. They know what they're consuming. And it's actually an opportunity for us. It's a huge opportunity for us because it's a way of building trust and loyalty in the long run. So we need to be transparent enough to give this information freely to consumers.
I like what you said about transparency because I genuinely believe that the element of transparent communication is now solidly embedded in the sustainable practices of organizations. Obviously, Farsons is a big group. You know, the brands are what they are, the number of people you employ are what they are. So naturally, you also have your own commitments when it comes to ESG. What importance do you think marketers should give this? This will become very relevant, probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
What importance should we give it?
I think it shouldn't just be a buzzword. I think ESG is a responsibility. It's a responsibility that companies need to actually embark on and actually come up with initiatives to sustain the business. Talking about us, sustainability is on the top of our agenda. We've invested heavily in power generating technology, solar panels, etc., and we're also very conscious also of water, for example, as a resource. So from a corporate point of view, the company is taking the right measures and investing in a sustainable future. From a brand point of view, I believe, let me just give you an example. Next year, as a company, we are going to offer the market the possibility, all our beers, our bottled beers are going to be available in a returnable glass bottle. Okay. So we have a returnable glass bottle and also kegs. So that returnable opportunity or capability that we have, we're making good use of it to improve our sustainability. So even from a responsibility point of view, having available non-alcoholic beer, which takes a lot of effort to brew. You're literally brewing a normal beer and then you are de-alcoholizing the beer. So you're literally adding another step, which is very complex, but the company recognized that there's a need and the investment has been done to offer the market a fantastic non-alcoholic beer. A fantastic non-alcoholic beer which tastes like a beer, which is the ultimate objective for brewers when brewing a non-alcoholic variant.
How involved were you and the branding team in this process? Because obviously it's a corporate decision, like we said. Yeah. But then it filters down, and it filters down to all the different
it is led by the market needs. So we initiate it as the marketing team. We initiate these conversations, and I strongly believe that marketeers, especially in the manufacturing industry, not just beverage, in the manufacturing industry, need to understand the process and need to understand what goes behind the scenes of a particular product. So you need to meet the brewers. You need to know some basic processes.
Proper immersion.
Yes. I'm not a brewer, and I'm never going to be a brewer, but I have a basic understanding of the brewing industry and also of other manufacturing and processes within the beverage industry. So I believe that marketers need to be part of it, need to understand what it is, because then they can use that knowledge to translate it into communication and branding and also product innovation.
Carl, you gave us a thought leadership tip there, kind of immerse yourself with the whole supply chain process, almost, after 11 years in this job and obviously previous roles before. Would you have any advice to marketers in order to make sure that they remain relevant, even if they are working with legacy brands?
As I said, they need to understand the process and, if possible, be part of that process. Marketing shouldn't be a desk job only, but I strongly suggest that as marketers we need to be out on the market as much as we are in the office. So let's talking about the beverage industry, you need to go out, you need to visit supermarkets, you need to visit outlets and
Get a feel of the
bars
business, right?
and talk to the people who are ultimately part of the chain serving your product. And they are the most reliable source of information that you can get because they have direct contact with consumers. So definitely learn the process, understand the brand, what it represents as well, and go out and see how your brand is actually being presented in the market.
Carla, from my side, I want to thank you. This was a meaningful chat. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Thank you for hosting us at this beautiful building, as I said, and thank you for bringing the responsibility of a marketeer in such a legacy environment to make sure that we, the consumers, continue enjoying, local and heritage Maltese products.
No, thank you for being here.